in today's video, I will be putting to the test some of the most popular art supplies out there. I will be looking at the Himi Gouache, which I've been seeing absolutely everywhere, so I'm really curious to see how they are. Next, we are looking at the Kuretake Watercolours. I was particularly after their Art Nouveau set, but unfortunately I couldn't find it anywhere for less than £100, and I swear I saw them on Amazon a few weeks ago for about 35. They're not available, so there's some sort of supply shortage. But then I ended up going with this 12 colour set because I'm not sure if I would like them, so I didn't want to splurge on a big set. And lastly, I'm just literally waiting for my delivery for the Caran D'Ache Neocolor II aquarelle crayons, and I feel like, especially recently, I've been seeing these free art supplies everywhere, and I just feel like I need to see how they are, if they're actually worth the hype. Okay, so here we have the Himi Gouache. I saw there were a few different colors for the box. I just went for a pink one. So it comes with a mixing palette. That's kind of fun that it comes with some brushes. And I like that they are pink so they can match. Obviously they're synthetic, they don't seem too bad. And these are the colors here. One thing about this, I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but these are so hard to take out. Like I have to they're really wedged in there. You know what? These are hard to get off. I'm just having... Ah, there you go. This one seems to be having a big hole in it, and it seems like it's quite dry, and I just noticed when I was pulling up the cap that the package seems to be a bit damaged, so I reckon some air has gone in that. It hasn't been as airtight. Okay, so I rearranged these in a sort of color array that I would like because it didn't make much sense to me, and I think I will have to remix them all because there is a lot of binder sitting at the top of everything. So far, I have to say that took me much longer than I thought it would, and also it was such a messy process. Like my desk was all covered in paint. One thing I have to admit, I do really like the case. It feels quite nice and solid, and I like that it's plastic because you can easily clean up the paint stains. I also think these are very big sizes, so they should be lasting quite a while. I also like it comes with a palette, it comes with brushes, so you have pretty much a whole set to start painting with gouache. So I decided to paint a landscape inspired by a picture from the Lake District. I have to admit I was struggling with this a bit because it's been quite a long time since I've done a painting only using gouache, and I have had a hard time using the Himi Gouache with water. I kind of had to use it only by itself in quite thick layers, and that seemed to work the best for me. Some of the colors are not as opaque as the others, and I had a tiny bit of trouble mixing them. They would just get a bit muddy. But overall, I was quite happy with the end result of this painting, and I think if you put the effort in to learn how these paints work, they are quite a good price for how much you get. But I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to go and immediately purchase them. Now saying this, I do think the set is very pretty and you have a very nice collection of colors. As for now, I am not 100% convinced by this set. I think I have to test it out a bit more to reach a conclusion, and I am a tiny bit disappointed with the damaged color as it's a bit drier, and I notice it's also much less in that tube than all the other colors. So I can't fully recommend this, and I just want to leave it up to you to draw your own conclusion. You look at the footage, see how you think the paints look, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this Himi Gouache review. So after the first slight disappointment with the Himi Gouache, I've actually didn't really expect much from the Kuretake watercolors, but oh boy was I wrong. I really enjoyed this paint set. I wouldn't even call it a watercolor set because you can make them behave a bit like gouache, not a very thick gouache, but it is a bit in between a gouache and a watercolor. So I started first on this character design study. It was for a collaboration I did over on my Instagram, and I also wanted to kind of see how they work on paper that's not specifically made for watercolors. This is my Royal Talents Art Creation sketchbook, and because they have the slight gouache property to them, they worked really well in this sketchbook. I used some color pencils on top and they layered out very nicely. I also combine them a bit with the neocolors, which you will see later on in the video. And honestly, this set had such beautiful colors. I didn't feel like I was missing anything, maybe a yellow, but I had to admit they are gorgeous colors and I fully recommend even just this set. I enjoyed it so much that I ended up putting a few of the individual pans on my Christmas gift list, and I actually have now a few more individual pans from the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. And this is another point that I wanted to make about these colors. It's nice that you can buy the pans individually because you can replace the ones you run out of, but also maybe you're not convinced by this review, maybe you just want to buy just 2 or 3 pans and see it for yourself if you like it or not. And because I enjoyed the first experience I had with these watercolors, I wanted to test them even a bit more. So I took out my Hahnemuhle watercolor sketchbook and I decided to paint this octopus, which I have to admit the colors in the set worked beautiful on this painting. Even though these paints work very nice on a more loose style, I went a bit on a more detailed type of illustration. They blended together well and it was just a joy to use them. Now, one thing I did notice is when you use these paints a bit on the thicker side, they tend to dry with a bit of a shine to it. This doesn't bother me per se, but it might be good to keep it in mind. And yeah, after testing these paints out. I'm even more on the hunt for the Art Nouveau set, and I love to also try some of the other art supplies that Kuretake has to offer. I know they are quite big on different black pens. And yeah, if you can't tell, I really enjoyed this a lot, and I'm looking forward to using them in some different projects and really testing and pushing them, and maybe even trying some of the granulating colors they have to offer. And just talking about this illustration, I think he's a very cute fella. And I'm not quite sure how to finish up this spread yet, maybe adding some colors. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, please let them in the comments. And lastly, I finally got my delivery for the Caran D'Ache Neocolor Aquarelle. It actually comes in a nice tin. Oh, it's this way, okay. Right. We've got some nice stickers. It was quite funny, the guy that delivered it today, he had a torch on his head, and we were watching the TV, and then we just saw this flashing light come in, and then I was like, oh, I don't know what's happening, are the aliens coming to get us? But anyway, yeah, he was just the Amazon delivery driver, and he put this package through the door. So I've seen a lot of this online recently, especially for mixed media. Now the new colors. So I actually have been putting off testing these out because I wasn't quite sure if they're the right material to me, because they just kind of seem like kids' crayons. And as I was swatching them, they had nice textures, but I wasn't quite sure of the colors that come in the set. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, I did try them on these character design sketches and they worked fine there, but I wanted to see how they look without using any water. I heard they blend really nicely, they're very buttery. So I picked up some very smooth paper. I went for a toned paper, and I think this has helped out the drawing quite a lot. And I just mapped out the shadows in the darkest areas, picked up some colors that I thought worked well together. And initially I went with quite a light hand. Then I was thinking, let's push this up a bit more, and then I was going a bit harder, layering them up a bit. And yeah, it is true what everyone says, they layer together nicely. They are very creamy, very smooth. They leave a beautiful texture on the paper. I'm not sure how they would work on paper with a bit more of a tooth, but my choice of this paper made me like them a lot. Now the only thing is that they are on the pricier side if you buy them in sets, but actually buying them individually, it is quite affordable. I think they're about £2 per crayon, which is not cheap, but it's not expensive. They're about the same price as the polychromos. And I say the other issue is that they are not too sharp when you get them, and when you sharpen them, obviously you lose some of the product. So in conclusion, I think the neocolors are a very fun art supply to add to my collection, and I think they're very versatile. They can be used in so many different ways. You can use them dry as they are, you can use them wet, you can do wet on dry, dry on wet, so it gives you a lot of variety. Okay, so I have a few different experiments. This is gouache, and this is also some like leftover gouache and watercolors. So I'm quite intrigued to see how they layer on this. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed watching me review some of these popular art supplies. Let me know in the comments if there are any other art supplies out there that you would like me to try out, and I would definitely be interested in doing this again because it was really fun. Until next time, I hope you are having a lovely week, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!